In a land isolated from the world by a dire fog, three unlikely allies find peril and adventure. A sly rogue of dwarven descent. A strange and ancient elf wielding the power of nature. And a brutish warrior with a foul temper and even worse manners. Welcome to the Den.
So we're live on the internet for our second night this week of streaming, right? Last time was Knights Black Agents, and we have an incredible surprise for you guys tonight. For one, we're starting a campaign here on Myth Brigade of Dungeons & Dragons 5e. That's pretty exciting. But the cooler part is I'm not running it. Byron's not running it. Len is coming on board as our third GM, DM, whatever kind of title you get. So I'm just going to turn the mic over to you and let you hopefully be very kind to our first level characters. Let's do this.
Oh boy. Hello everyone. This is Nim. She's very angry, so I'm going to get her out of my way. Welcome to the first time that I'm ever DMing on a live stream, which is very nerve-wracking for me, but I'm just going to try and power through. So bear with me if there's any mistakes and stuff, because I'm got some nerves, but we'll see how we do. Welcome all of you guys. I'm super excited to get started here. I've had this idea in the works for a little bit, and I can't wait to just jump in. So without further ado, how about we introduce you guys. I know we know Jason and Tyler from previous Myth Brigade stuff. So why don't we start with Matt? Let's have you introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm the new guy. I'm Matt. I met Lenora through just gaming up here in Portland, Maine, and when I'm not playing in this campaign, I am running at least another with some friends and teaching kids in high school during the weekdays.
A true hero,
right?
In real life.
No, not at all. I just teach math.
That makes you say, yeah, but it's you said they were middle school aged, wasn't it? That makes you a hero and a survivor if you can get through that. That's amazing.
There's a lot happening right now. It's great, and part of it is puberty. Definitely the puberty.
Oh no! So you're a grizzled veteran hero, is essentially what you're saying.
It's rough some days. Other days it's great.
Well, we all appreciate your amazing service that you do, because the kids need every little bit of help they can get, especially this year. And I know you've been really, really awesome about that, as well as awesome in playing in my other games where I've had the privilege of being your DM. So I'm super excited to get to do that again. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, glad to be here.
I would say, Tyler and Jason, introduce yourselves, but I'm pretty sure most of our viewers.
Byron's my dad.
How many times have you said that on stream? I'm Tyler. Byron's my dad. That's awesome.
I don't know.
Then there's Jason.
Yeah, I'm Jason. I'm super excited to be playing D&D. It's been a really long time since I got to play. I've run it for years and years and years, but I'm so excited to get back to it. And I can't think of a better DM, really. The creativity and the vision and all that stuff you've put into this, it just makes me excited for it. So happy to be here.
Yeah, happy to have you. All right. So without further ado, let's jump in, as weird as that feels to say. So I would like to welcome you all to the Kingdom of La Fumbria. This kingdom, basically a little bit of background here, is that hundreds of years ago, about 500 or so-ish years ago, a nightmarish fog called the Din settled over the land surrounding the entirety of the kingdom and kind of cut it off from the outside world. The kingdom itself is kept safe by an order of Templars who serve the religious structure / deity called the Gazing Flame. The god, the Gazing Flame, is monotheistic for the most part in this kingdom. Not a lot of people worship other entities. There are some, which we will address probably in the course of this campaign as it comes up, but for now, Gazing Flame is something to keep in mind. The Templars patrol the borders for monstrous horrors which wander in from the mist, and they maintain a series of beacons called lighthouses, which keep the din from encroaching further into the kingdom. Certain adventurers and certain groups of Templars sometimes do foray into the din in search of ruins or artifacts, or to repair the beacons left behind from ages past. However, due to the confusing and otherworldly nature of the din itself, many of those adventurers and knights are lost and do not return. So venturing out there is pretty dangerous. So I think that's pretty much all you need to know before we jump in. And I think our story begins here in a little sleepy burrow in a town called Lothenburg. It is on the southeastern side of the Kingdom of La Fumbria, right over here. And it is a cloudy, rainy day, sort of autumn time. And the weather, unfortunately, has a few people on edge today, as rolling clouds of mist and banks of fog kind of come in and out of the city. And of course, with the din being ever present in everyone's lives, the weather sometimes can get a little bit spooky when you think of the fog outside of the protection of the beacons. In the drizzling rain, a knight walks through the town. He is wearing the colors of the blazing order of the Gazing Flame, sort of this kind of a tan tabard with like red kind of slash across it, and the flame itself emblazoned on his chest. It is a physical embroidery of an eye surrounded by flames. A little bit less sinister than Sauron from the Lord of the Rings, but it's a similar vibe. So he walks through the town, and he kind of pins this notice with a little hammer onto the board outside of a small tavern called the Grey Mare Public House. And the notice reads as such at the top of the board. Hear ye, brave souls of Lothenburg, the illuminated soul, Our Lady of the Flames, the Ember Daughter, dost call to you for aid. Ye of stout heart and physical fortitude, she doth beseech to speak with Sir Barloft of the Blazing Order. A retainer of 50 gelt is promised for thee that enlist in her holy cause. Signed, Knight Captain H. Barloft, Order of the Spark.
Len, I like to think that Gormut is sort of skulking around somewhere as he does, and he hears this sort of splashing of the knight's feet up there, and then maybe somebody reads it out loud, because he has no, he wouldn't, there's no way he would read it, but he's sort of 50 count,
yeah,
50 count.
Do you want to give me the first roll and roll perception real fast?
I'm doing it.
Here we go.
Watch me fail.
That's the tone.
That's how I do it.
I couldn't have asked for anything better from the first roll of the campaign. So, unfortunately, Gormut, I think that you don't really take this in right now. I think that you see the knight. You've probably seen him around like once or twice. I think you kind of ignore him, and he kind of walks past, and you hear the thunk thunk thunk, and he hammers it on there, and you kind of just like, what are you doing right now, Gormut? And can you describe yourself?
Absolutely. So Gormut is a rotund but very strong human sort of looking guy. You could mistake him in the dark for a half-orc. In fact, that happens quite often, but he's not. He's ugly as sin, stringy, greasy hair, dirty skin, long, unkempt nails. He's got a great sword over his back that looks like it's been in far too many conflicts. In fact, it was stolen from a battle scene where it was starting to rust. He's also got a giant hammer that he drags around with him and a little hand axe at his side. But yeah, so I think he's probably just sort of vagrant, being a vagrant, and kind of hanging out with his flagon of ale that he's taken from inside the public house there.
Yeah. Yeah, I imagine that you're kind of like leaning up against the side of the door, maybe even kind of like looking outside, watching the weather, kind of half in, half out.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. Yeah, so you see this happen. A couple of people do come up around, just some townsfolk kind of stop and watch, who you presume to be Sir Barloft, kind of, nailing this notice on top of the notice board. And he does it in such a way where he kind of like puts it over all the other notices and then like sticks it there. And then he kind of starts to walk past you back to the Templary. And then I think so we see Gormut kind of standing here watching this unfold. And unfortunately at this point, I don't think you really know what what the board says. But I think we are going to quickly cut over to Tarq. I imagine that you are in the tavern currently, correct?
Absolutely. Just drinking away from my most recent victory, we'll call it. Just drinking away. Tark's he's kind of tall for a dwarf and thin. He's not so stout and large. He wears dark clothes. He's kind of got his beard is not very kept at all. Very dirty and grungy looking. And he'll just kind of wander out to see where Gorman went.
Yeah, I think you probably hear kind of the thunking of the hammer against the nail in the town board, even from where you are, because I imagine that you kind of pay attention to stuff like this, perhaps, like you kind of want to stay tuned into the goings on in the town. So you certainly notice Gormut kind of like watching this guy walk past. What do you do? Do you go investigate? Or?
Oh yeah, I'll go read the notice board. I'll help Gorman read it.
Yeah.
Hey there, mate. That knight just posted a paper up there on the board. He looked rather serious today as opposed to other days, if you ask me.
Yeah, he looks the same.
He literally is walking away from you, and I think he kind of hears this and kind of just glances over his shoulder, just looks back at you, just keeps walking.
Yeah, I would look down, like oh shit, he heard me. Oh. Yeah, I follow, and I picture you because I'm a big, tall guy, so I'm just towering over Tarq and just walking behind him, like
Yeah. So as Tarq Shortbread reads our notice board to Gormut, the camera pans around to the back of the tavern, and we see what do we see, Matt?
You see a pair of unshod pointed feet, high arches, just sort of flailing in the air as the top half of this person is like deep in a barrel, looks like it's reaching to the very depths of it. All you can see really other than that is a brown tattered robe flowing out of the top of this barrel. Did he find anything good in the barrel?
Make an investigation check.
Cool. I mean, good is relative.
You definitely found like a bowl of what was a bowl of porridge at one point, which was, dumped in there and left, and it's been raining, so it's soggy. It might be edible, but it's not good.
It's just watered down.
And like it's starting to get a little like it's turning fast.
Yeah. So he pulls himself out of this barrel, really gaunt, spindly fingers, cupping this handful of past due porridge. And I would say the texture of the porridge is a lot like the colors of his skin. And he's kind of like really bony features. His wrist seems a little weak. as well, at least what's revealed by the robe he's wearing. And he kind of peers at it through really messy hair. His it's almost knotted in spots, and there's the clumps of ash and dirt hung from it. His face is forlorn, hasn't had a shave in quite some time. Really like straight, dark brown stubble, sort of poking out in every which direction. And sort of sunken eyes, sort of eyeing this porridge. Considers it in its current state before rummaging around inside his robes, pulling out a unused sack and just shoving it on the inside of the sack.
So gross.
And giving a good little tie before returning the sack to his robes. And takes a good look around, pulls his eyes out of his hair. Really narrow face, pointed nose, and really thin mouth. Kind of like looks like he's darting back and forth before he makes his way around to the front side of the public house.
So after you shove your loose porridge into your haversack, you make your way around front, and I think you kind of catch the tail end of Tarq reading the board, and you see these two gentlemen standing outside of the tavern in the light, kind of misty, drizzling rain. I think Gormut and Tarq, you've seen this individual around before. I don't know if you guys have talked to him. That's kind of up to you to determine right now, but you definitely notice our friend.
I think
He looks clean today.
During our Bonds episode, he gave me a handful of some weird shit to eat at one point. And
you can look better than the porridge I currently have in the sack, at least.
Maybe while he's Gorman's reading, while Tark's reading, kind of pat him on the shoulder. Hey, it's that guy. You see him right there? As he emerges, looking kind of like you can see his face now, right? Like you brushed.
He looks clean today.
Something must be
definitely a cleaner face. I think just being moist in general has really like freshened his appearance.
He's hydrated, so the wrinkles are lessened.
What do you reckon he's on about?
I don't know, probably looking for scraps again.
Yeah, probably. Hey, would you grab that notice just in case he reads it, right? That's ours, isn't it? That's 50 marks. I have no idea what he said. I was just kind of thinking to myself, would I even understand that high level?
We'll take it.
Not really.
I'll take the notice.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
The 50 gilt, though.
So you pull the pull the thing off the little nail, and
it's been up there for like a minute, and I'll just take it down.
Snag that. And from inside the tavern, and again, I think Gormut, you've kind of been standing like at the doorway. From inside the tavern, you hear a voice which just goes, "Oi, no! Shut the door! You're letting all the heat out." And Tarq and Gormut, you would recognize the voice of Margan, the barkeep. She's kind of yelling at you to either get in or get out. What do you guys do?
Sorry, madam. I'd push the door shut for the moment. Yeah. Did you got any more coin? I'm flat broke, but I could really use an ale.
Yeah, I'll give him a few coins to go get himself an ale.
That's a good lad. I just gotta make.
No, Fraxinus, you see these two, and they're talking about getting food and ale. I don't know if that appeals to you, but you certainly hear these two gentlemen talking about it. And you heard, I think, with your passive perception, which is pretty decent, I think you would have at least picked up that Gormut said something about 50 marks.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. The guy kind of like walks around, he's like stands by the notice board, he kind of like looks it up and down, kind of takes a glance at the interesting are those other things posted on the board?
Yep. So I will I think I don't know what you guys are seeing in the Roll20 right now. So first time.
I have it. I have the board open, but that
Yeah.
second notice, he takes interesting note of like the way that the text is, the words are spelled, and just how, and seems to be like really keen on how many extra letters, random capitals. He puts one finger on the random capitalized U and just sort of traces it for a second, and then he pulls it away and sits down on the grass by the notice board and pulls out
wet grass.
If this is grass, and just in like sort of like nearby the road and the trails and like the footpaths, but a little bit off, before reaching once again into his robes, and this time pulling out the large jar, which he then begins to just sort of for a moment sit there cross-legged and tapping it.
Now, Tarq, you see Fraxinus kind of look at this message. Can you go ahead and give me a perception check as well, or investigation? It's up to you. You can use either skill.
We'll take perception.
Damn.
I'd say even with a 10, because I think you were kind of distracted maybe for, just reading the note that you just snagged, but then you kind of see Fraxinus like point this out, and he, like, with his help, I'm not going to give that like advantage for an assisted roll, but I'll say that it still kind of made the 10 a little bit stronger. But you definitely notice this second message being like very, very weird and like misspelled in like a lot of seemingly random ways. However, one thing that does strike you when you glance at this is that the letter V on the signature is like very beautifully penned and like almost embellished. So that's really weird and not really in keeping with the rest of the note, seemingly so like illegible.
I was going to keep that in mind.
Yeah. There's also that third note, which is, I think, probably again with some of your passive perceptions, you guys might have seen someone posting it like a day or two ago on the board. It was actually posted by the Innkeep Margin, and that also is there. So there's a couple little interesting things going on around town. But for now, I think the two of you kind of watch as Fraxinus plants himself across from the Greymare public house and starts to take out his jar. And
what is he doing?
What the hell is he eating? Should we?
He's not eating anything just yet. But he has this sort of like a pretty plain looking stoppered jar, tall, kind of like nice curves to it, but he reaches to the top and he begins to tap on the top for a bit before slowly unscrewing it, taps a little bit more, removes the top, and he puts one of his hand in, not the hand that had the porridge, but pulls out a handful of, looks like just dust. His hand has gone stark white, and he takes it and he sort of big poof as his face just becomes covered in dust and ash. The moistness of the atmosphere really helping it stick to his body. He begins to scrub himself with this ash. Works into his hair.
Yeah, so you two clearly just are staring at him.
Yeah, just absolutely. Just dumbfounded watching him put baby powder all over himself.
Do either of you like remark on this or do anything, or you're just kind of sitting there watching, being
absolutely
like,
just dumbfounded, staring at him?
I think I'm gonna walk over there and see what the hell he's doing, what he's on about. And it's raining too, so like the water's probably getting in this stuff and starting to make it run, right?
I think it's freshly applied enough that that's probably not happening yet, but it might get there in a minute.
Oi, mate. What the hell are you doing? What is that?
I am getting ready for my funeral pyre. Takes another handful and just.
Oh, I take a step back.
Behind him.
Are you sick? What's wrong? Are you gonna die? Funeral pyre for what? I glance over my shoulder at Tarq. Is he back by the public house? I'm by myself?
Yeah.
Fuck.
Move your tokens accordingly here. So we got Gormut and I think I put Gorman on the wrong layer. I'm fairly certain.
We can't see the
Gorman's
map. We're still on the notice.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I can
click
I
out of
don't
it.
see the map. Or wait, is it zoomed way in?
Yeah,
No,
I think
I have a black
not
square.
on the token layer.
Yeah, I think I put him on the wrong layer, and that's my bad. He is on the GM layer, so
That's why he
probably
can't
do
see
it.
anything.
Ta-da, there it is.
Wow, there we go. Oh, nice. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Sorry about that.
No worries.
So yeah, you got Gormut and Frax over here, and Tarq just staring at all of this, just being like, I don't know, what are you thinking in this moment?
I guess since Gorman's kind of scared, I'm slightly intimidated, so I'll just kind of wander over too.
I kind of creep up next to Tarq. He's talking nonsense about a funeral pyre. He said he's putting that stuff on him to get ready for his death.
Pulls out another burlap sack and sort of lays it flat on the ground in front of him, and then reaches in and rustles around a little bit and pulls out a third sack, out of which he pulls out. You can hear it kind of begin to make noise as it rattles its way out of the mouth of it. A broken tambourine. So just the drum bit has just a slight tear through it, but still rattles just fine. And he just sort of begins to like sit there in the rain. Dunk,
Some sort
He's
of
great.
witch.
dunk.
So as this is happening, from over, I'll mark it over here on the map. So over from this area, so coming around the corner of this little house here, an older woman, probably in her mid-40s. That's not older, but yeah, mid-40s. But she kind of rounds the corner, and she's carrying this big, like, covered kind of like picnic basket looking thing. And she's got, her shawl kind of like over her head. And as she rounds the corner, she hears Frax, the noise that you are making. She kind of comes up and she's walking towards the public house. And she kind of like stops and looks down at you and
Frax,
then looks up at the other two.
like reaches out some spindly fingers, shakes the tambourine a little bit.
She goes, all right then. I don't have much, but she kind of fishes around in one of her many, many pockets, as medieval ladies are wont to have thousands of pockets in their shawl.
Pockets everywhere.
So she reaches in and she pulls out just a bit, like 2 bits, puts them in your hand, and then can you just make, like, I want to say a persuasion check? Hell yeah, there you go.
Damn.
Those sunken eyes become puppy dog for just a slight
18.
The running ash just makes you that much more pathetic and like. So yeah, you give her puppy dog eyes, and she kind of like, all right then, and she like reaches into her basket and she pulls out a small little baked, it's like a hand pie. She just puts it in your hand along with the 2 bits, and she kind of looks at you and nods, and she just goes, don't be sleeping outside tonight. You're one to catch cold, all right?
I will make sure I stay warm through the night with this. Thank you.
Yeah, she nods, gives you another look like, kind of like, starts to walk away and then glances back over her shoulder at the three of you and just kind of is like, takes a look and then just keeps going, like, still don't know.
Madam, those pies look all right then.
Delicious.
Yeah. No, she stops. She goes,
does she?
well, spend your coin at the Greymare house. Give me and Markin some money. She like gestures like, what do you want from me? And like he keeps on walking as she walks into the public house. You realize, Gormut, I think you and Tarq finally recognize who this woman is. She is the barkeep's sister, Gretchen, who is oft curmudgeonly, but she's a damn good baker.
Nice.
Yeah.
Are you too hungry?
Yeah, but can we get to the bottom of why you think are you sick? He's very nervous. He doesn't approach you. He's kind of sheepish.
I will outlive you. I am fine.
Why are you getting? What you said something about a funeral pyre.
We all die someday. Just in case my day is today, I want to look my best. And he reaches out once again from his robes and plants a small candle in the dirt in front of him.
Can you make an investigation check for me real quick, Matt? All right. You put your candle and you maneuver it so that it's underneath the eaves of the nearby building so that it's not immediately snuffed out.
Well, it's not lit yet, but it has the it's now sort of stuck there. He takes like the hand pie and he begins to hover it over the little candle before reaching to his side. What looks like what once was like a tangle of cord is actually like this weird mess of roots. And when he places one finger on that, the candle bursts into flame.
Well, I would jump back like, oh shit! I do not like magic. Freaks me out. I won't say I don't like it, but whoa! Do you see that? Elbowing Tarq.
Yeah. As he like shoves me back.
He just lit that candle without a stone. Can you do more of them tricks?
Depends. My mood, my hunger. I have enough oil. Big tricks with the oil. Are you hungry or not?
Sorry, I'm rolling discreetly. Not so discreetly.
Not so
Roll 20, roll 20 noises. I could whisper rolls. I probably won't be whispering rolls though in this campaign because I like people to see what is going on with the numbers. So you guys might learn what that roll was for in a minute. But for now, you guys are kind of sitting, and after a few more minutes of you guys kind of like having this weird discussion, sitting outside in the rain, just basically oogling Fraxinus, the both of you. You guys see, I will just drop them on the map over here. Another figure kind of come around the corner. Looks like he was coming from actually out this way, so like outside of the main part of town. And he's this, again, kind of like maybe like mid-30s, strong looking physique, and he's wearing these very prominent like red cape in this beautiful like crimson like flaming red color, and he's wearing some heavier armor. I'm gonna look at his stat block and see actually what he's wearing so I don't mess it up. He's wearing plate armor, and he's carrying there's a big like hefty greatsword kind of strapped to his back, as well as a heavy crossbow. This guy's like fully decked out in gear. And he kind of rounds the corner, walking, like he's going towards the market street, and, walks past you guys and kind of sees that Gormut is blocking a lot of the road, I would say, with your with your actual physical bulk. And he kind of like stops and takes in, the three of you. I think first his eyes drawn to Gormut because you're standing right in front of him, blocking his way. And he kind of like gives you a look like, "Are you gonna move?" And then his eyes kind of drift to Tarq. They don't really seem to focus on you much because you don't like, to him you're not in his way, so he's not like taking that in. But then he kind of sees Fraxinus and he kind of just lamplighter, and he kind of continues to like make like he's gonna go around Gormut, but like awkwardly.
I would move like he's got my respect with all this gear. And yeah, so I would sort of bow a little bit, maybe tip my hat to him and step back out of the road. Sorry, sire. Yeah. Sorry to be in the way.
He just looks at you and just goes, and continues on. And you actually, you guys kind of see this guy goes the same way towards the church and the templary that the knight captain Barloft had also went. So he's presumably going to the same place, and you guys just kind of see it. Can I have all three of you go ahead and make a history check for me, please? Or religion, you could do either.
Neither are good, so we're going to go with history.
Oh man, I forgot.
Don't ask me what I ate yesterday, apparently. I rolled a 2.
I got a 5, so...
Such an interesting campaign to me. So, which is honestly though, these rolls, I love this because Gormut and Tarq, this is a knight. He's dressed like a knight. He's a fighter. He's a knight. That's it.
He's a knight, yeah.
Some guy with armor and a shield. Fraxinus, I think there's that moment where he like looks at you and goes like lamplighter and kind of like nods and continues on. Where you kind of like take him in, and he is wearing like the colors that he's wearing and also the sigils on his armor. They are of the Blazing Order. And they are a little bit more, and I think earlier when I was kind of reading through this, I did say that Barloft was from the Blazing Order. He is actually not. He's from the Order of the Spark. So this guy is wearing slightly different colors and insignias than the Knight Captain that you guys usually see in the town. And you recognize the Blazing Order, and you know that it's kind of like more rare for them to be out here, and kind of like you haven't seen his ilk around these parts before.
Did he pass through and away? Yeah.
Yeah, he's like, you guys can probably like look down the street and see his back, but he's out of earshot for the most part.
And the armored man sort of moves out of the way. Fraxinus has his eyes on him, start tracing sort of like a slight scowl as much as it could make it throughout his messy hair. Fraxinus jumps up, hand pie in hand, and he looks at the two of them and goes, "Are you interested in a job? Because I have one."
You got a job. Reckon And when I see you're serious, the laugh fades away, right? Like, what kind of job?
Bodyguard.
How much you're paying?
He looks in his hand. I have these 2 bits, one for each of you, and I promise to keep you fed. All I ask, you keep me alive.
Can we negotiate on what you're going to feed us with? Because
no.
Talk. Why do you need protection?
He waves the hand pie now.
Protection from what?
Like that
Whatever
savory...
might want to harm me, of course. The bodyguard does.
I look to Tarq to make the decision. Like I obviously could protect him.
You could do better than Vince.
Make a perception check.
This is a quite.
Tarq, with an 11, Frax might be able to do better than Bits. You don't know.
Exactly.
Hard to tell. There's a lot of pockets on this road.
Oh, exactly. He's got like 9 jars. I don't know where he keeps his money.
Talk. Remember
It's
that.
a warm bed, or at least a warm place to lay your head every night.
Maybe you could do some of those magic tricks and help earn extra coin to pay us our fee. Eh? Eh? Like looking at Tarq like, was that a good idea?
Sure.
Fine, I will help you in your jobs as long as you help me in mine.
Well, I stand up straight and kind of pull down my, because my chainmail tends to ride up on my belly. And I extend a hand. Name's Gormut. They call me Gormut the Bagger. At your service. And I try to look imposing, but I'm not doing it.
Frax reaches out with the hand still kind of covered in ash, and he sort of limply places it in your hands and squeezes and gives like a good shake.
Oh, he gets a good squeeze back. Just this kind of knuckle crunching. This here is my boss, Tarq Shortbread.
A pecking order, eh? I am at the top. Know this. And he breaks the hand pie into halves, and he holds one out to each of you.
What are you gonna eat?
I'm not questioning it. I'll just take it.
I'll be just fine. I have some porridge left over.
I take it and scarf it down. I mean, it's gone. It's so gross.
I'm sorry, I'm just sitting here trying to be like the impartial DM and not just crack up a lot, but like got some porridge. So good. So yeah, you guys kind of take this moment and get to know each other. Tarq, do you introduce yourself to Fraxinus, or you just kind of let Gormut do it for you?
I'll just let Gorman do it for me. I'll just accept what he said.
Very good. Yeah, so
then,
oh, go ahead.
Go ahead. Which
After
one of
you
these jobs on the notice board do you want to do? I said my own name. Gorman.
I don't think you read did you read the other ones to me? Because I don't.
No.
Oh.
No. No, I didn't.
I'll lean in and try to have an opinion, right? And kind of. I think he points to the one with the interesting letters because they're artistically cool to him. It's like.
Because he can read that better than anyone.
Yeah. What about this one? What about this one, Tarq?
Sounds good.
What is it? Is we got to go fight.
You'll be collecting plants.
You good at that?
I ain't got no shovel.
Fine, I just need to make sure that we make the necessary contracts.
So, Fraxinus, as you are steepling your fingers in a very Mr. Burns way here, I will say, Tarq, go ahead and just roll me another investigation check now that you're taking another look at this notice.
Investigation.
Excellent. This letter has elements of thieves' cant in it. So there's definitely a message written in this letter.
What does it say in thieves' cant?
I will pull up my notes and show you and tell you. I'm like, why isn't this coming up? And I realize I minimized the window. The joys of Roll20. So you take a couple minutes, and I imagine maybe kind of shield your eyes from the rain a little bit and squint. And you notice that the spelling errors and the mistakes in it are kind of deliberately spaced out. And then if you eliminate the letters that are mistakenly placed and or mistakenly capitalized, you eventually get the message that says, "Your goods are ready, left near the gallows. V."
We have to make a pit stop, and then we could go way Warden's way south.
Yeah, I gotta have a piss too, I say.
Fraxinus pulls a long robe or long hood over his head, almost covering his eyes like his hair is, and sort of scrounges up the candle and other sort of artifacts that he had laid about. He sort of bundles up and falls behind Tarq.
I'll start making my way towards the gallows.
All right. So it's not a very long way away. You round the corner from the public house. I imagine you guys probably, do you take the road or do you take like the back way over here?
The road. Yeah. The road. No, the back way. I see what you're saying now. Like
yeah,
cutting
so
through
kind of,
by the public house.
Yeah, or like so there's multiple ways you can go. You can cut through the alleyway. Here, there's a little doctor's office, kind of apothecary with like it's got like the plague mask symbol on it, like stuck outside.
We'll go right by the plague mask symbol, right by that place.
Yeah, so you walk through the alleyway here. You guys can also control and move your own tokens if you ever want to like move around the map and like show me where you're going. Feel free to do that. But you quickly kind of circle around this weird little kind of, that this is kind of like where some town markets might like take place, like people set up carts and stuff around the tree here. So you kind of skirt that area because nobody's open today. It's rainy, it's gross. And you eventually spill out to the gallows. And luckily for you guys, there are no fresh bodies about this morning. No one has recently been hung or punished by the law. It's been, at least for the time that you guys, Tarq and Gormut, at least for the time that you guys have been in town, you as well, Fraxinus, I don't think any of you have really seen these put into much use. But they definitely are imposing, and we kind of get this scene as the three of you guys kind of like trek, through the muddy streets in this just miserable. It's like that constant kind of rain where you're always just damp. It's not like rain, but it's just wet. And there's a mist bank, and then we see the gallows kind of outlined in the mist as it comes into view. Yeah, it's just unremarkable though as you guys arrive. Go ahead. I guess Tarq, you'd be leading the charge here, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Only look around.
Give me an investigation roll, and I assume one of you is probably going to assist, correct?
Yeah, I'd start looking around. Yeah, start kicking around, rocks and whatever, just looking for obvious things.
Yeah. So you can do the investigation. Oh, go ahead, Matt.
I was gonna say it just seems kind of like lost in thought, sort of standing off to the side, not helping.
Just absolutely letting them go about their own work.
You need investigation from Elon?
No, I was assuming that. So you could do either way. And for the future, just tell me how you guys want to roll these. So like if you guys are both doing a skill check together, you can have one of you roll with advantage, or if not, we can each roll individually. I
think let's do the advantage thing, because I figured I'm very close to Tarq and almost looking in the same spots that he just looked in a way, but slightly around it, just trying to mimic his observance. But yeah.
Excellent. So with the 13, you noodle around for a couple minutes. Nothing really like jumps out at you. It looks like there have been a few people kind of coming and going. So you do see some tracks, but it's kind of hard to parse like which direction they're going, and you don't see anything that like immediately sticks out and you're like, that's a package, or like, you don't see that. So yeah, you guys are just kind of like standing, looking around. What else do you do? Do you investigate anything? Do you kind of try to follow tracks?
I'll look more towards like the bottom of the gallows instead of around. Maybe someone like put it under.
Yeah.
That's the
yeah.
That's the best idea Tarq's got.
Yeah. go ahead and give me another investigation roll. And again, you guys can choose whether you want to assist or do it individually.
Let me brush away some of these weeds for you, and I'll just kind of help that way.
There we go.
Yeah, much better. So, interestingly enough, you look under the gallows, you don't see anything. It's gallows. You see the trapdoor, but you kind of get frustrated, I think, for a second, right? And then you kind of, stand up, look around,
kick some rocks out of anger.
Yeah, one of the rocks that you kick bounces a little bit in the wet mud and then lands, and you kind of look at it, and then you see that over here there's a couple of old carts that look like they've almost been abandoned, they're just kind of disrepaired, rotting, whatever. And you see that some of the mud near the old carts, which probably haven't been moved in a really long time, has kind of been disturbed recently. So you go check it out, and you see that under somebody has kind of scooped some of the mud over kind of underneath this bush here, over a small little box.
I will take the little box and I will put just a little I'll put my tinder box there instead.
Make a sleight of hand check for me, please.
I'm going to be kind of standing tall and looking around, making sure that no one's observing this, trying. Holy shit.
Yeah, hell yeah. I love this so much because you kind of you look and you see the mud, and then you do the Indiana Jones style thing where you swap it out so the mud doesn't even get a chance to get all messed up. Very good. So you successfully snag this little box. Gormut, go ahead and give me a perception roll, please. And Frax, you can join in on this because I think you said you're kind of looking around.
It's going to be 11.
Yeah. So Gormut, you see a couple rabbits over here. Some bunnies. Good eating.
Yeah, I think I don't know. I'm considering. Let's see how this goes, but I'm considering. I'm watching them. I'm gonna chase those fuckers down.
Fraxinus, however, you actually look past, and I think this is kind of cool too because you guys have already kind of lined up your tokens, so it is fun that I can do this. So Fraxinus, from where you're standing, you're kind of watching Tarq and Gormut, over here. You see way off over here by the entrance to the cemetery over here. I meant to ping that, but I'm still on my ruler tool. Over here, you see just a shadow moving in one of the fog banks, kind of near the entrance to the cemetery.
So look like a person, humanoid?
With a 16 perception, yes, it does.
Okay. What is it that stands out that about this person?
So you see, I think with a 16, mostly the movement catches your eye because it looks like somebody had been staying still, maybe even watching this spot for a minute, and then has seen what has happened, and then you kind of see them dart off in this direction towards this bushes moment.
Hurry up! Someone who just spotted you just ran off in that direction.
I'm gonna open the box real quick and try to look inside.
What direction?
Praxis points up the road.
Do I see what he's pointing at all?
Yeah. So Gormut, you follow his gaze and you see. Well, give me another perception check with advantage because he's pointing something out to you.
Nice. Thank you for the advantage. I need it. Need it. Oh, good. Well, I've rolled a 9. So
with a 9, you think he's pointing at another rabbit. It's so weird. I mean, there's a bunch of bunnies around here because it's a wild. You're on the edge of the forest, edge of town. You keep on seeing rabbits, and you're just I don't know.
You're thinking with your stomach again. That's a coney or something. What are you squinting my eyes and kind of trying to stoop over so I'm as low as he is, you know?
So right now, I don't think Gormut really picks up on this, but Fraxinus, with your 16, you kind of see this figure like move, and I think by the time Gormut like gets to looking in the right direction, he's already gone. Like he's kind of disappeared. He or she or they have disappeared into this like copse of kind of like scrubby bushes, and are obscured from sight. While you guys are taking this kind of watch moment, Tarq, you attempt to open the box. It is locked. It has a small little like keyhole on it, and you cannot pop it open unless you want to roll thieves' tools for me.
Thieves' tools, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Damn.
Ooh. That is. I love the I'm just having
24.
this like really nice moment as a dungeon master where I'm like, it's such a good spread of rolls from like absolutely terrible to like really good. So it's very cool. So yeah, with 24, you're like, it's child's play. You pop it open and like you put your thing in there and you literally just turn it once and it just. So as soon as the box opens, you see kind of wrapped in this like velvety material. There are 3 vials in this thing. There is one that is a red vial, which is probably about the size of your finger, a little stoppered red vial. There's some liquid sloshing around in it. You see one that is green, and then one that is black.
What you got there, Tarq? Anything good?
I don't know. I have to look at it later. I don't know what it is.
You can give me an Arcana roll if you want.
Yeah.
Watch you rolling that. Oh, there. That's better. That's better. With a 4.
Nope, no idea.
Very, very mysterious vials to you right now, Tarq.
All right. Looks like I'll start heading the way of Warden's Way south.
Yeah. So,
like I didn't just steal a box.
Is Fraxinus still fixated on whatever was moving as we're kind of withdrawing? As I'm watching him, is he still concerned with whatever's going on?
Fraxinus is kind of just peering off the distance. I'm not sure if it's really much different from the vacant stare that he's had for most of the time you've known him. But he is sort of steadily looking at where that figure had retreated towards. But when Tarq starts moving, he kind of snaps out of it and begins to look around again and just falls behind Tarq.
Something's got him real spooked, Tarq. Look at him. I pretend not to be staring when he snaps out of it. I'm like, oh.
I'll look over towards where he was looking at now that I'm not like fixated on this box. I'll start to look over and see if I can see what he's seeing. 13, unfortunately, no. Again, and it's still like, it's kind of a misty day out, as I said. Oh, yeah.
And there's definitely like, I think we're getting that kind of like mottled cloud cover, like the darkness in the like, more heavily like brushed area is, it's pretty dark. Like you could easily lose someone in there, and that is exactly what this person has done. So you see nothing. And Fraxinus, after a couple minutes, you don't see like any movement. It seems that whoever saw you has disappeared.
I wouldn't pay it too much mind. They seem to have left as quickly as possible. Doubt they saw whatever you were dealing with under those gallows.
Good.
There is work. I'm glad. I do not no longer wish to pick weeds. There was a trail. A notice about smoke and fire. That sounds more our speed.
Yeah, so you guys can certainly go back to the bulletin board if you want. So you grab this package. Honestly, did not expect you guys to go for that one first and immediately solve it, so that's interesting. Fun for me. And so yeah, you can certainly go back and you kind of look at that other notice. So saw smoke and fire beyond the foothills. You guys can read that and tell me what you want to do. This is the fun part of session zeros where you guys get to like kind of steer me.
Tarq,
I think-
are we gonna go?
ahead.
Are we gonna? Are we supposed to get a flagon of ale first? Yeah.
I mean, we can. We got time.
Come. Fraxinus kind of actually takes the charge this time, and he like is marching pretty steadily back towards the public house. With this sort of faster movement, you can see he's kind of like a little top heavy. His bulky robes seem to like have a lot more bulk up around his shoulders and his waist as opposed towards his legs. So he's kind of like hobbling down back towards the public house.
You guys follow Fraxinus. Fraxinus, do you go inside of the public house when you get there?
He stands outside the notice board for a bit.
Make an investigation check real quick on the notice board, please. Yeah. From what you can tell, those are the only 3 messages that are like of any importance. There's some other stuff on there, which is just like, you know, somebody pay me for this, you know, bushel of horse meal that I have. You know, I don't, you know, need this anymore. And there's just some like little like correspondences from around the town, like, you know, town bakery competition, but nothing's of import. So you guys are kind of, again, just kind of left standing there in the rain. If you all look down the road towards the Templary, at this point, there's a couple, I'll move this guy's icon over here. There's a couple of people actually standing around, and you can kind of, even as far down the road as it is, you can kind of make out shapes through the fog, and you can kind of see their garb. Being the brighter red and crimson and orange hues of the gazing flame. You see a couple of soldiers have kind of like amassed over here, and you can see the big red like cloak of the knight who passed you by earlier. So you do see that there's a couple of people gathered there. But everything else in the town seems to be pretty much, you know, going about its daily business, with the exception of these guys. Although I will have Fraxinus give me another perception roll real quick.
Mm-hmm.
I'll tell you right now, 15 was the DC for that one, so good job. Yeah, after you finish investigating the board, Fraxinus, you see, like, use my ruler tool. You see, like, over in this area, like on the other side, like through the alleyway, you see like a dash of movement, like a dark, kind of cloaked figure, just like really fast, like move over here.
Is it moving towards us or away?
You see the movement looks like they were moving in this direction.
Okay.
Do I notice him staring off in the distance here? Let's see. Perception. Wow. My first decent roll, an 18. Do I notice him kind of like looking and...
Yeah, absolutely. And I think with that perception, Gormut, you also see, like, you kind of like, you notice Fraxinus, you turn and look, and then you see just like the edge of like somebody's cloak like disappearing around the corner of this building over here.
Fraxinus speaks up and says, "You too. I have hired you to be my bodyguard, no? I feel like something is just around that corner." And he says it not necessarily loud, but really sharply, and jabs his finger in the direction of the motion.
All right, then. I crack my neck and, you know, kind of flex my shoulders, and I think I'm going to draw my hand axe so I don't look like a freak kind of pulling up this great sword, right? You want me to go into the dark? and go after whatever that was. Yeah.
Humans. And Fraxinus reaches down to his side and kind of untwists this ball of roots that's hanging from the cords of his robe and reveals a bright light, a lantern light, which shines out from him. He slowly opens these roots, so it sort of appears really dimly at first and grows, much like a hooded lantern sliding open, and just sort of reveals just a little bit of light, dim light to start. Something happens, you'll have the ability to see. I just need to make sure that you catch them red-handed.
Right. I reach out, but very tentatively, like I'm scared of it. You know, he's uncertain.
He does not. He kind of like pulls it back as like he's not going to let you take it away.
So what? You coming with me then?
I'll be just behind you.
All right. Good. Two's always. Tarq, you coming?
All right.
I was stomping up there, heading that direction.
I'm going to kind of like step around, kind of go around the Market Street corner to kind of like cut them off.
So you go like this direction?
Yes.
Interesting.
Like over this corner. So if they try to flee this way, I'll kind of run into them.
Yeah, absolutely. And then so Gormut and Fraxinus, you kind of head up in this direction. Is that right?
Yeah.
I'll follow up behind Gormut.
I kind of head up there and making not exactly being super quiet, right? Just kind of like kind of thing, as if I'm just coming out of the public house,
It's kind of, yeah. Give me just a. Are you trying to like act like you might have just come from there, or like?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just go ahead and give me a performance check real quick.
Oh, shit.
I just want to see.
He got a 12.
Hey, not bad.
You're drunkish.
It seems to fit. You. Surprisingly good performance from you, which is awesome. So you round the corner, Gormut, kind of lumbering through, and you kind of have to like move like a pile of crates or something that's like behind this building, and you see you don't see any movement, but you kind of like get to probably about, I'll move you over here, probably about like here-ish, like kind of near the entrance to like the main entrance to this doctor's office. Give me just another quick perception check with advantage, because you're kind of like looking around for this and you kind of are like trained into what's going on here.
So with advantage, there's a 20.
Hell yeah. I think you see, just really quickly, you see Tarq kind of like round the corner here, and then in a very, very quick flash of movement, a figure who was hiding like right here, like in the deepest part of the shadows, you see them get up and run across the street, or they begin to run across the street. Go ahead and just roll me, if anyone tries to stop this person, which you now have the opportunity to
Absolutely.
do. Go ahead and give me an athletics check. I'm going to also make a check for athletics or acrobatics for our more acrobatic friends.
Oh. Only a 5.
I was good. So which way? Wait, DM. Which way is he going?
So you guys saw the figure who was hiding right in like kind of this space here. They dash across the street in this direction, or they attempt.
Can I cast a spell?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. When the figure darts across the street, Frax is going to just reach out with one finger, just sort of point at his long kind of like unkempt nails, point in the direction, and a big explosion appears as a bonfire just erupts from the ground, trying to cut off the path of the person darting.
Yeah, for sure. Go ahead and is that a dexterity saving throw, or is it
I'm going to put it in front of them, not on them. So I'm just going to create like an element of fire in the direction that they're headed, not trying to actually
This is the
immolate.
create bonfire cantrip,
Yeah.
correct? Okay.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Just that, but
yeah, so this I love this so much because this person begins to move. Gormut, you see this happening, and I believe you probably start to act, right? And then Fraxinus, you quickly whip out your spell and point the finger, and all of a sudden this bonfire kind of springs up right in between these two buildings in just this roar of flame, and this figure dives headfirst into it, fails their dexterity saving throw, and trips and stumbles and kind of skids to a halt, like right here at the edge of the street. I would say that for the three of you, like Tarq, I think you can probably see Gormut and Fraxinus doing these things. You have kind of a different vantage point on this though, because you're mainly only seeing your allies. But the advantage that this does afford you, Tarq, is that you definitely notice that for the most part, the soldiers who are hanging out in this part of town, they still do not see whatever's happening here because of the fact that it's happening in the alleyway behind the building. So I think you take a kind of a second and you're like, oh, that could have been really bad.
So as that happens, I could see them more focused towards that alleyway. I'm gonna run around and try to get in front of that alleyway.
Yeah, absolutely. I think even though you didn't roll super, super great on your acrobatics, because of the fact that this person failed their dex saving throw against the bonfire, and they're doing the thing where they run into this flame and they're patting themselves out. And you run around and you do get an alleyway view. And I think, do you guys, Gormut and Fraxinus, do you also kind of converge and cut off the exit, or do you stay where you are?
Yeah.
I'll stay with Gormut, but yeah.
And I wouldn't have any idea because he's behind me, so I wouldn't know that he caused that fire. So
yeah,
I'm convinced.
I would have no idea he did that.
Yeah, I'm convinced that this guy's the clumsiest arsonist in the world or something. There's no way, So I just, oh, Butterfingers, you're not going anywhere. I just stand real broad.
Hell yeah. So as this person, you kind of cut off the exits, and you see that this person kind of pulls their cloak off, and you immediately notice a couple of things. This is a tiefling human, or tiefling human. That's contradictory. Tiefling person. Their skin actually is this sort of deep, dark, crimson color. And they've got these bright yellow eyes and little horns that kind of curve back and then come up. They seem to have kind of male features. You're kind of seeing this person in the dim shadows of the alleyway, smoke coming off of their clothes. And immediately they kind of are making these noises that you don't recognize, Gormut, and I don't think any of you do unless you speak Infernal, because this person is cussing in a language that you do not understand. But they kind of finish pulling off their cloak and throw it down on the ground, and then just look up at you guys and go, ah, shit, and continue to pat themselves up.
So as they're patting the kid, is this person within reach of me?
I would say so, yeah.
So I mean, Frax wanted us to apprehend this guy. I don't know why. He just said apprehend him. I grab him by his little shoulders and slam his ass against the building.
Yeah, just give me a strength check.
Come here, you! Oh, no. I say, 22.
Oh no!
I'm not trying to kill him. I'm just gonna slam his ass. Yeah.
I'm just gonna roll. They could potentially escape this and not get snagged by you, but they don't because they rolled a 16.
Nice.
Yeah, they're super distracted by their fact that their clothing is on fire, and you just slam this this dude against the back of this little shop over here. Immediately, again, kind of ah, shit, stop it! I'm not trying it. Get off of me! What are you doing?
My boss said to hold you captive, so that's what I'm doing. Stay still.
I squeeze.
Make an intimidation check.
Watch me roll a 1.
At advantage. I think you get advantage on this because you are.
11.
I think with that, this person kind of like glares up at you, and then are you holding them by like the shoulders?
Yeah, like sort of by the arms, the upper arms, and kind of pushed against the building.
Yeah. We get that kind of like there's like a split second where like after you kind of like shake them a little bit and they're like stay still, they kind of like snarl up at you and they go, why don't you make me? And they pull out a knife and like they just start to like they hold it up to you, like you're doing that weird thing where you're holding them and they have a knife up to your throat, so it's just this very close quarters awkward situation.
I'm gonna stab the shit out of the tiefling.
Is that what we're gonna do then? I think I'll take a step back, so I'll kind of hold my hands up like I'm stepping back. I don't mind walking away from a fight, especially if it's over.
I think you get to re-roll intimidation with advantage because that's really fucking cool.
Intimidation coming right up. 15.
Yeah, wicked better. Wicked better, as they say in Maine, I guess. So you definitely you get this. What does it look like? What does your sword look like? It's
bad. It's kind of pitted and it's rusty in places. It's sturdy enough to fight with, but I mean, he found it, and like as he sharpens it, little chips will come out of it. So the blades probably looks like something Tolkien's orcs would carry. He just doesn't have any money, So yeah, it's scary, and it looks like he'd get tetanus if he get cut by it.
Yeah, this person kind of like looks at you, and then they're like, they kind of do one of the like, going from snarling to being like, oh shit, and they kind of have their dagger up, and they're like, yes, let's walk away. Yeah, we don't need to do anything here. We can just.
I don't know about that. And I kind of glance over this person's shoulder at Tarq, because you were coming up behind, I guess?
Yeah, I'm just going to stab him as soon as he pulled... he's pulled a knife, he's getting stabbed.
Yeah, go ahead and make an attack roll.
I'm going to try to stab him with my short sword. No!
Oh, jeez. Nice.
Absolutely not.
Bink.
All right. Oh no! So yeah, this person, they kind of like they're like just walk away, and then Gormut, you're kind of like holding their gaze, and then their eyes kind of like dart to the side. They see like Tarq incoming, and they just immediately just like deftly like spin out of the way, and they're gonna try and take an attack against you, Tarq. Which
all right.
I've been rolling their stuff, but I actually have a stat block for them, so I should probably get that on. Sorry. I'm using the Roll20's lovely compendium feature to grab my stat blocks right now. And bear with me for 1 second.
As soon as this erupts, I would step back a bit. I know Tarq can hold his own, but I need to make sure that Frax is, because he's right, the person we're supposed to be protecting. So I'm not gonna engage this guy yet.
Okay, I'm gonna just quickly. So I'm still gonna roll. I'm gonna type in the roll real quick because I don't want to actually use their stat block, but I know their bonus now. So
Oh yeah.
Is an 18 hit your Tarq?
Absolutely.
Oh no.
Okay. Oh no. Luckily, they do not get their sneak attack on this because you are not surprised.
Frax.
Woo!
Yeesh.
Yeah, so this person, you take a swipe at them and then they turn around and they just full on like stab you in the chest. Like absolutely spot on. They seem like they're very proficient with this weapon.
No!
Frax yells at this point, and he says it in a weird tongue in Infernal. He says, "Stop stabbing."
Knives are not for stabbing. That's so good. That is a candidate for the episode title. Stop stabbing.
Stop stabbing.
Yeah.
I think that's definitely it. So We do. We see this horrible, awkward moment with Tarq like reeling, like clutching a dagger like in his chest, and then this person like looks at you, Frax, like totally surprised that you're speaking in Infernal, and they just lock eyes with you and like let go of the dagger in like leaving it behind, and they look at you and they kind of, knit their eyebrows together and they look like they might be going for like a short sword or something. Like you notice that they actually have another weapon on them, but they're not like pulling it out. Can you just roll me a persuasion check, Fraxinus?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think they lock eyes with you and they kind of like look around, and you do see that their hand kind of like begins to go for their sword again, but they're not like making any aggressive actions. They're just kind of like you have them cornered, so they're not like relaxing.
Fraxinus, now in common, says, "Stop stabbing! Stop stabbing! I told you to protect me, not to kill him. I don't even know who this man is. Who are you?"
I'm kind of inching in with my hands like Raven grippy hands. I want to rip his fucking head off. He just stabbed my friend, and I'm so confused. What? Do you want me to apprehend him or not? You said go get him. I tried. They don't call me the bagger for nothing.
Oh, what'd you say, Matt? I didn't
All
get that.
fun and games until the bladed weapons come out. Once again, this time in Infernal. Who are you?
My name is Vincent. I don't know why you attacked me. You tried to stab me, and he points to Tarq, being like, "Why did you try to stab me?"
Is he speaking Infernal?
Yes.
Okay. And then back in common, practices. This is just a mistaken moment. Let's just figure out who this man is. Then I will let you know if it's okay to stab him or not.
It's not okay. Is not any of this is in common. He goes, "It's not okay to stab me at all. I don't want to be stabbed. Not like this guy." He glares at Tarq. Just like he kind of like he relaxes his grip on his sword for a second and kind of like stands back and like crosses his arms, like looking at you guys, like, "What the?" Like he's just so pissed.
Why were you sneaking about in the shadows?
Why were you stealing shit from the gallows?
Fraxinus hears the rhyming. Goes, gallows, shadows.
Shit, I did not mean to do that. In any case, and he turns back to Tarq. How's Tarq doing, by the way?
He's very angry and really wants to stab this guy.
Fraxinus is going to move up. I'm assuming they're like he stands sort of between Vincent, was it? Vincent and Tarq. He like kind of like looks Vincent up and down, so gives like a quick like sort of judgment of character before turning to Tarq and laying one bony finger on the knife, and at the same time as he yanks it out, casts Cure Wounds.
That's like, I love the D&D magic aspect of healing, because you can do the like pull out the dagger, slap the hand on the chest. Yeah, go ahead and roll your Cure Wounds.
Motherfuck, that feels great.
What does it look like when you cast a spell like this?
As he grabs onto the hilt of the dagger and he looks Tarq in the eyes as this happens, there's like a flash of light, and it was a really swift like yank, but the second that Tarq looks down, the wound is instantly cauterized and feels great.
Just looming over your shoulder watching this happen, and I don't think he's ever seen this before. Blessed be. Oh. And then I look at the tiefling. You try that again, I'll cut your fucking horns off.
Yeah, he was intimidated by you earlier, Gormut, so he kind of like, he's had his arms crossed, and then he kind of just goes, "Hey, listen, I'm not going to try shit, just don't try to stab me again." You're the one who started it.
Right. He's totally right.
Yeah. He like looks at Tarq. He goes, "You gonna live or what?"
I'll be all right.
Yeah. Sorry.
What's in the box?
None of your business, and I want it back. And he kind of like gestures to you, like, "Gimme."
Fraxinus turns and looks at him with his dagger, sort of now like
I'll take it as a thank you, as an apology.
You just have a knife. It's a pencil. Just look. Oh my god!
I have to walk across the room for the knife. Fraxinus isn't relinquishing it. He just like holds it up like in this sort of not necessarily threatening because it doesn't look like there's gonna be much weight behind any stab from it, but he just sort of like holds it up and turns to Vincent and says, "Why were you skulking about?"
Well, I assume you found my message on the town board. I was watching my goods, and then you took them. And you're not the people that they were meant for, so...
And who was it?
He's like, this individual, as you're speaking to him, he's like so surly. Go ahead and give me an insight check real quick.
I get rolled. 9.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to read, and he seems like, I think the most you can pick up right now is that he seems pretty nonchalant with what's going on, and he seems to have like a certain degree of like, he seems like he's been in some rough situations before, so like, he's talking to you as calmly as the situation allows. I'm sorry, what was your last question though that you asked?
And who were these meant for?
He kind of like smiles a bit, like smirks and looks at you, and he goes, "Well, I don't think that's any of your business, is it? None of you should have even gotten that message. So I don't feel like I have to."
You posted it on a board for the public.
And he can read.
The public can't usually get, the thieves can't. I don't...
That seems like a you problem.
Yeah, he like looks at you, Tarq, and he goes, "You were the one who read my message."
Oh, thieves can't tell them to fuck off.
Make an insight check.
Insight.
I think even with a 12, you see he's like kind of hurt for a second. like you're speaking in his language further. Like you guys totally disarmed this character in so many ways in this moment, because like he did not expect infernal, and he also did not expect the thieves can or the physical aggression. So he kind of like looks at you, Tarq, and he's just like, "Yeah, okay, you're right. That's all me." But
so what's in the box?
Well, it's poison. What else do you think it is? I can't just like sling it around town. It's illegal. He kind of like goes back to crossing his arms and smirking. Everybody give me a quick perception check, though. Oh, damn, Frax. Amazing.
I think one of his horns is
Paranoid eyes.
What did you say, Jason?
I said, I think one of his horns is crooked.
I got a
it
3.
absolutely is.
Yeah.
Jason.
I agree.
Gorman, you see this, it's a little bit so distracting. Frax, though, you do notice that there are the sound of armored footsteps kind of coming up the street, and they sound, just for your perception there, you kind of hear these soldiers marching off in this direction. They don't seem like they're coming towards you, but as you notice this, it seems like your new friend Vincent also kind of like hears this. Like they kind of like stop talking and like look at the street, and they kind of like very quietly and infernal like curse under their breath, and they just kind of go like, "Listen, whatever, you can keep it. I don't give a shit. Just leave me alone. I've got to go. I don't want to be caught here."
"Time for a drink." And Fraxinus just turns and walks away, still clutching the dagger.
He goes, "Hey, can I have that back, please? Not going to give me..."
Fraxinus doesn't stop walking.
So
I turn around and look at it as we're leaving the alley. You know, I kind of like, and turn back and follow Fraxinus. Just kind of.
Gormut, you also get to roll an insight check on this person as you kind of like glance back at them and laugh.
From the stream, the Interzone said Matt is playing Elven David Lynch. That's so good. That's so good. Thanks, man. Oh, that's awesome.
Can you roll that insight for me? I think was the one. This crew is going to be so great. Jason, I'm still waiting on that.
Oh, you're waiting on for me. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I thought you were talking to Matt. So, Gormut. 12.
I would say this would have been made with advantage for you because I think you kind of have a background as like a criminal, if I'm not mistaken.
I do.
So, Gormut, there's just this awkward moment where you're kind of like, oh, and then you like look back at this individual, and you see them just glaring at you with like a pretty serious, like, you done fucked up kind of stare. And just out of the corner of your eye, you kind of see them make like a hand gesture, like, which is a little bit like threatening. It's not like they're not like flipping you off, but they kind of do like a little bit of like a right across the throat.
I turn around. I think I'm going to turn around and kind of walk like, and what the fuck does this mean, horny boy? As I walk kind of amble toward him. Huh? I thought we settled our differences. No more stabbing? Especially since you ain't got a knife.
They move back the rest of their cloak and they show the sword at their hilt and they're like, more than one blade, more than one way to kill.
Yeah, I know.
You took my goods, you took my knife, you walk away from me after you assault me. I don't let this go lightly.
I did not take anything that belongs to you. I'm just protecting him. Okay?
Well, him owes me money now. If he keeps the goods, he owes me money.
Right. You should work that out then, shouldn't you?
I just stare at him.
You can buy the goods. They're for sale.
You can buy the goods.
Currently, I'm selling them.
Hey, you know what? If you can find a buyer for this without getting yourself arrested, give me 50%. I'll call it even.
No.
I wish you all the best of luck, my new friends. I am sure I will be seeing you around again soon. And they start to walk away.
Pretty serious talk. What's in the box? I have no idea. You know.
I guess it's poison. I don't know.
Poison? Who's he poisoning?
I don't know.
Cowardly way to kill someone.
Can I have Fraxinus just roll me a quick... this would be like a history check. Frax, you've been in town for a bit, right? Like at least little bit. And you've been staying a couple months?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you've been staying at the Jensam camp in the south side of town.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's a moment where you kind of realize that you might have seen this individual before, kind of skulking around the camp. And there is another tiefling person at the camp. And you definitely have seen these two talking. And it kind of strikes you in that moment that, like, you might have messed with people that, like, at least you, like, know where they are and kind of, like, the circles they run in a little bit. So it just kind of, like, hits you in that moment.
If Tarq and Gorman are like walking up to the pub house, Rax is just sort of standing there, looking deep in thought. He looks to Tarq in the box. He says, "You do not know the weight of the wares found in the shadows of the gallows, but Something we must illuminate with this. But I am hungry. And he reaches into his sack. Pulls out some really foul-smelling porridge.
By the flame, what is wrong with you? Ugh. I just step back from the smell. Just, ugh. Let's get you some proper meat. And maybe put some meat on those bones, huh?
Very well. Puts the porridge back in and wipes his hands on the sack. And then puts the sack back into his room.
So, Tarq, since we got the box, do we get paid now? Who's going to pay us our coin? Or did I miss something?
No, the box has stuff for that's worth money, but it's illegal.
All right. So
I think I might know who the buyers or the sellers are.
Can you identify it?
Identify what?
The poison.
Don't know too much of poisons.
I'll kind of like move into the alleyway and pull out the box.
If he will, being a studious person in the past life, Frax will look into the box.
Yeah. You can make a medicine check for me.
Okay.
Or Arcana. Because I had you guys.
Same bonus.
There you go. Yeah, you kind of like peer into the box, and as like Tarq is holding it in his what I imagine are, grubby hands.
Grubby hand.
Grubby, calloused, tough guy hands. But also very deft hands, as we've learned with your lockpicking. You see that kind of like within these vials, these like, colored glass vials, there's a red liquid in the red one, obviously, like it's like a dark red liquid. And you recognize that one immediately to be a health potion. Like that is actually a potion of healing. It doesn't look like a very big dosage. So in D&D layman's terms, it is just a regular old 1d4 plus 4 health potion. You recognize the second one. It has kind of like this very like viscous, like kind of like milky black sticks around the edge of the glass before kind of like gooping around inside. You've definitely like seen probably like diagrams of plants in the books that you've read in the past. This is a basic poison derived from some local plant life that you usually would find in like caves, like a little bit underground, which I think maybe you might be more familiar with it. Mm-hmm. So that maybe that's why you kind of recognize it, but it's just again, D&D layman's terms. It is a basic poison, and the third vial. I don't think you recognize what's in the third vial. It is a completely black liquid, but it's kind of has like a watery consistency. You'd probably have to inspect that one a little bit more.
Oh, this is medicine.
It's in a it is in the black vial as well.
Okay. This is medicine. This is rot root oil. It's very poisonous, and this I have no idea.
It looks like a stout.
I wouldn't drink it if I were you. Or if you do, let me know and I will watch.
We can make someone else drink it.
You know when? I will watch.
Heroes of the realm. I love it. So you guys go into the Grey Mare?
Yeah, get out of the rain and the yuck, and get a big flagon of whatever the coins Tarq gave me will buy.
Yeah. So you guys enter in. Greymare Public House is pretty open floor plan. There's a bunch of like basic, like just wooden picnic tables essentially kind of set up around it. There's one bar kind of to the back, and a hearth, to the side. There is a second floor where you can rent rooms, and kind of a kitchen in the back. You guys kind of see into the very beginning of the kitchens, but behind the counter is Margin, the innkeep, I guess. She actually owns the property, and she is sort of like polishing these bottles, which most of those bottles I think are ones that you guys probably can't afford to drink. Greymare Public House has a couple of decent things on available for those at the Templary and the Belmire estate who can afford them, but you guys probably can't. So you usually, I think, partake of the large sloshy barrel of mead that Margin keeps behind the bar. And you kind of see her just kind of going about her business. Also inside, there are a couple of the regulars. You recognize there's old Sir Charlin, who is Sir Charlin. It's a local name. You don't know why they call him that, but he doesn't look like a knight. He looks like a drunk old man. You also see Gretchen, who is kind of setting up the food that she has brought in for the day. She's a baker. Her building is a couple down the way that you guys were kind of actually where Fraxinus put his candle earlier. Is sort of where Gretchen hangs out. And then there is also, as you guys walk in, and Gormut, you probably give this guy a nod. There is a very, very large, probably almost your size, maybe a little bit more physically fit, in a trim way. There's a very large half-orc by the name of Boyd who sits quietly near the entrance as you guys come in and kind of gives you all a nod as you walk in. Just kind of a
I think someone, at some point during a drunken altercation said something about me being uglier than Boyd, and I didn't know what that meant until maybe a day or so ago, right? I walk past him, belly up to the bar.
Yeah. Margin greets you, and she kind of eyes you all as you come in. I think definitely Gormut and Tarq, you guys are able to just walk in, but I think we get this weird moment where you all three walk in together, so this big dude Boyd doesn't do anything about it, but he definitely looks at Fraxinus and just kind of and keeps an eye on him, which is kind of the reception that Frax you get as Gormut walks up to the bar, followed by Tarq. The innkeep, who's this lady, kind of in her late 30s. She's got kind of curly brown hair, which is braided back, and she's got the classic bartender thick apron, rags and stuff. She kind of stops what she's doing and looks around Gormut and just kind of stares for a second. You looking back at Gormut, you covering his tab or no? Because
right, I just kind of push the coins out and spread them out. I've got this, and we're thirsty and hungry, mostly thirsty.
You can get a meal for 2 bits, but she just became British there. She's not supposed to be British. Yeah, I distracted myself. She goes, yeah, you can get a meal for 2 bits, but beyond that, you know how it is. It's a bit per tankard, so if you're trying to get drunk, you need to pay up. And don't get too drunk, or else, she nods towards the half-orc guy.
Like last time, right? Yeah, so I get beverages for us. Do you drink something other than water?
Not particularly.
You'll love it. And I'll get him a tankard and just shove it into his chest. Here you go.
Splashes on him.
Sure.
You made another
he
clean
kind
spot.
of he doesn't really look too aghast at it. He just sort of peers into it and begins
Best meat in town.
Does it dips one finger into it. Gives a good whiff and
No, you drink it.
I understand this.
I have to say,
I'm just trying to get to know it. He picks his finger in again, this time with 2 fingers, and just like begins to like test the viscosity.
Just drink it.
Licks his fingers and then takes a large gulp.
Throw mine back. Yeah.
Another round.
So you guys, it's probably getting later in the day by this point as well. I think the story kind of started out probably at around like 1 or 2 in the afternoon anyway. So you guys kind of did some noodling around in the town, picked up a package that wasn't yours, got stabbed. But Tarq, you actually feel super good. Like,
great.
you feel like almost like probably like 1 extra HP in there or something. You know, feel better than before. Got rid of your hangover too. It's so weird.
Need to get another one now.
So you guys start to, I assume you start to get into your cups. The evening kind of starts to set in. And as it does, a few extra patrons start to filter in and out. I think just about the time that you guys are maybe even finishing like your first or second round, like not long after you post up here at the bar, a group of soldiers comes in. Some of those men that were hanging out around the Church of the Flame. They kind of they like walk in, again, the guy at the door kind of gives them like just like a nod. He doesn't say anything. You guys have barely ever heard this half-orc man like talk at all. He just kind of like grunts at people, and then like he's maybe shouted like "get out" like a couple times, but he generally is like so he just kind of nods the soldiers. They come in, they sit down and start kind of spreading out. The tavern kind of fills up, and they're sitting over by one of the fireplaces. And eventually, a couple other people come in. There's a few older farmers, Surum from the livery, and a couple other people that you might recognize from around town. Do you guys stay here for the night, or do you do anything? Like, are you just drinking? Like,
I think as I see these settling in, I would lean over to Tarq and kind of nod my head toward the coin purse of one of them, because I'm sure that they've got funds, right?
Make a perception check.
Either that, or I'm looking at he's got nice legs. I don't know. Let's see how this goes out. 12.
I think that you probably see, like, from where you're sitting, and you know what to look for. You see at least one of them has like a pretty decent sized coin purse on his person, and you notice too that his attire looks a little bit fresher, like newer. Some of the guys are, a little bit more weathered looking, but this one looks a little bit shinier than the rest.
Business casual, Templar garb. Yeah, I would nod at his purse and just kind of.
I'm gonna start eyeing all of them up in the bar. Not very successfully.
Yeah. I mean, Tarq, you probably pick out the same thing, right? There's probably like, out of these guys, like, it's hard to tell if any of them else have like coin purses where they're keeping a lot of extra cash, because a lot of them are wearing like, they're wearing their tabards. They're still kind of like, a lot of them kind of take off, like they have like breastplates that they unhook and like sling over the back of the chairs.
Oh, fuck yeah.
And eventually, like, they get a little bit comfortable, like, but they're still hanging out in like chain shirts and, or like padded armor, like underneath their like more heavy stuff. And it's kind of hard to parse like which one of them might be the best mark, except for you do also see like just that one guy is kind of like just a little bit shinier. Like I said, it's like his equipment's just like a little newer, a little nicer. But you'd have to kind of get in for a closer look if you want to.
I'm gonna lean into Gorman. You want to make a scene?
What do you mean by that? As I'm counting 1, 2, 3.
So I could take his money.
Oh. You want me to do the one I did last time?
Absolutely.
All right.
This can't go bad.
I'm going to give myself a wisdom check. And if I succeed, I'm just going to 11.
What does an 11 look like on Gorman? What does this mean?
I'm gonna die my first time out. I'm afraid. Yeah. So
Me too. I'm gonna get arrested.
So I would lean down, and I would press 2 fingers down my throat, and just, just right, and just in it, not on people. This isn't Stand By Me, but just all over the. Because I got a belly full of ale.
And I'm gonna slowly back up as this happens and begin to slide around to the knights.
Oh,
Okay.
sorry, everyone.
All right. Gorman, I need a performance check from you, please.
I think I'm
Watch
pretty
me
sneaky.
fail to gag myself, or actually make myself choke to death or something. Here we go. Performance 19.
Oh yeah.
19. Yeah.
I mean, the performance speaks for itself. There is bile and ale all over the floor. No one doubts you right in this moment. And yeah, you Tarq and Frax, you kind of see like all of that good half of the bar, and like all of the soldiers kind of like swivel over to Gormut, and you just like you kind of see like some of the soldiers just being like, oh, like
Preston's like staring down at the bile, and he just like picks up whatever meal he's eating and just puts more into his mouth while just kind of keeping his eyes on it, not deterred.
So now, while everyone's paying attention to his vomit, I got a 16 on my stealth. I'm gonna try to take his coin first.
Yeah. So I can tell you this right now. They had disadvantage on these perception checks, and because of the advantage, they had disadvantage because of the advantage. Yes, they had disadvantage because of the performance. So none of them notice you, but you will still need to make a sleight of hand check for me, friend.
Oh boy. Oh.
So you circle around behind these guys, and you get into position, and it's like this coin purse is yours, and you just reach out your hand and grab it and tug, and it stops, and the fancier lad who's very sturdy leather strap for his new coin purse, his shiny new belt that you've tried to yank. He just and makes just direct eye contact with you, and he just goes,
Oh, you dropped that. I'm just gonna pick something random up off the floor. Just anything. I'm just gonna sit on his lap and walk away.
Please deception with disadvantage.
What a mess.
Good. Not good enough though.
Oh.
He
Yikes.
he grabs your hand, or he moves to grab your hand as you're like putting whatever it is you found in his lap, and he kind of like grabs your hand and like swivels in his chair bodily, and he goes, "Don't think me a fool. You are a common cut purse." And he kind of like smacks his hand on the table and gets the attention of a couple of the other guys from around him.
Brax starts coughing profusely, and then after one big heave, a giant cloud of smoke just sort of pours out of him, filling the space around them.
Amazing. So, wow, fog cloud. So, a 20-foot radius of fog cloud sphere. What point do you center this on? Just on yourself?
It's probably going to center more so around the scene that's being made by that guard.
Right. All right. So, like this. What is it? And again, kind of like, all right, fog cloud. But what does it look like? Is this like coming from the fireplace? Is it apparating out of thin air? Is it coming from you? Like what?
It begins like pouring out of his nostrils firstly, and then like as he begins heaving like more and more out of his mouth, and then also sort of from his robes as well, and it just sort of flows out in that general direction, obscuring I'm not sure. That's like it's a 40-foot diameter. Would that be able to keep all of us in the cloud?
So I was going to say, I just wanted to know like where it was starting, because I have to roll a perception check for somebody. But pretty much as your spell begins to take effect, the entirety of the bar, like most of it, because it's not a very large, it's not like a huge space. So the entirety of the room is probably like, 15 feet high up to the second story like ceiling, maybe like a little bit of space in between the rafters, and then like across is probably like 30 feet. So like pretty much where people are like sitting, you get like most of the area. So let me just quickly.
So I did a wisdom check to sort my reaction, and I think I'm screaming, It's the den! The den is coming in! I fucking run because I didn't see any of that, and we're all scared of this fog, and now it's coming out of this guy's face. Shit.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try to break for the door.
Yeah, absolutely. So just make a quick athletics check for me, and as I describe what happens here, because so as this sort of starts, Gormut, you plow towards the door. I think you, with an 11, I think you kind of like collide a little bit with the door and like, maybe get like stuck on it because it was closed. But behind you, this scene is kind of unfolding. When you shout this, everybody gets like, shit just erupts. All of a sudden, everyone is on their feet shouting. You hear like blades being drawn. You hear like a table flip over and just utter chaos. What does Tarq and what does Fraxinus do?
I'm gonna double down on taking this guy's coin first. And then I'm gonna dive over the bar.
Okay. Go ahead and give me another sleight of hand, please. Yes. So, and I think like you've wised up. You know what this is. You slash the purse real fast, like right off his belt.
I'm dying. I'm taking off.
Absolutely. Give me also an acrobatics check, real fast, because now you're essentially flying blind.
Shit. Oh shit.
So this is great because you get the purse, you tuck it away, it's yours, totally fine, and then you turn to run and you immediately trip over like a chair and kind of like scramble across the floor. So Frax, what do you do in all of this as Tarq is fumbling across the floor and Gormut is smacking himself into the door?
Before the cloud sort of popped out, like Frax was like fully aware of what was going on. Passive perception of 16 kept him sort of in the zone, but after the smoke cloud kind of like emanated outwards, he just sort of still sitting at wherever he was sitting before and just trying to finish up his meal.
Yeah. I love that so much. So this lasts up to an hour.
Oh
as soon as he finishes his meal, he would probably like crawl his way out of there, and then maybe after that and concentrating on this effect.
So, a couple things. Fraxinus, we leave you at the bar with your meal. Your table got jostled a little bit in the confusion, and an extra roll kind of just like right next to your bowl of soup. So you enjoy your meal. It's lovely. It's quiet now that everyone has rushed out of the bar, so you have a few minutes to just eat and reflect and enjoy yourself. Gormut, you eventually bust through the door, and the fog starts to billow out, but not out too fast because it's mostly centered in a building where there's no wind. So we see Gormut bust out, like followed by this trail of fog. And then a couple seconds later, there's a few soldiers come and, out behind you, and a few of the locals. You see Sir Charlin, this old guy. He's like probably in his 70s, which is like, how are you still alive for medieval times? And he kind of like hobbles out, behind you, just kind of like swatting at the mist, going, yeah, my ale is still in there. And Tarq, I think a couple minutes later, we get the shot of you kind of like crawling out on your hands and knees. So the two of you are outside, and you see this kind of like billowing fog. And I'm not going to make you make any perception checks for this because it's something that's very, very blatant that happens. Is that as the soldiers all make their way out, they kind of like form up almost around the Greymare public house. And you see running down the road towards this commotion, it looks like the knight from earlier is kind of like, oh shit. So everybody like converges on this location. Actually, Barloft also would probably make an appearance, so I'll put him back on the layer. So you see, as all of these like younger soldiers and like Sparks, Order of the Spark guys are kind of like getting their bearings on what just happened. These two like older guys, who with the one with the really nice armor, and then the one who's like clearly you guys have seen him around. Barloft is the knight captain. They converge on your location. And Tarq and Gormut outside with the rest of these guys. You guys kind of hear the soldiers murmuring, what is going on in there? Like, should we do something? Like, what do we do? And they're kind of like all of them like discussing, and then these two guys roll up. What do you guys do for those moments? Well, like,
I'm gonna go hide.
Yeah, I try to back up against this sort of building to the south there, and just kind of stay out of
this corner.
Yeah,
sorry.
Watching from afar. Right. Was that the kind of scene that we were trying to make? I sort of.
I'll give a thumbs up.
Hey, did you get the purse? You got it. So we just jump up and down. I think we were just like, so right. Hey, where's the
Come over here. Be quiet.
Can you? Yeah, both of you guys give me a stealth check real quick.
Sneaky.
That's gonna be a no. That's a 5. I'd like to point out that if you gave me advantage, I'd have 24. So.
I don't think you had advantage unless is there Tarq? Is there a way that you
him.
like?
Yeah, I would like help him hide. He's big. He doesn't know how to hide.
Yeah.
I would like move a crate so he's like in front of him.
All right. I'll give this one to you. I think,
Nice.
And this is great because this poor dude rolled pretty well on his perception. He got a 20. But with the advantage, because Tarq, you're an expert, you're a master of disguise. You like literally you like push Gorman into the shadows and like push him down, and then like throw a tarp over him as this guard was like, that bastard has my purse, and he's like literally like rapier drawn, like this kind of like shiny.
He has a rapier. He's not even a man.
You don't know. You don't know this guy. Maybe. So yeah, he's like, quick, fan out, help me find him. This bastard has my purse. And this other guy, you hear another voice from behind me. Shut up about your purse, mate. There's fucking fog coming out of this building. It could be the din. What are you doing? Get back here. And like you hear this as this like one like guy with his rapier like runs into the alleyway, and then is like, yeah, yes, of course, and like turns and runs back. So you guys successfully hide in the alleyway. And Fraxinus, you're finishing your meal, and you hear kind of a commotion going on outside. But I think there's like a couple minutes here, right, where like you guys are just hiding. Frax, you're just eating, and the guards are kind of like, "What do we do?" And eventually, after probably about 5 minutes, 5-10 minutes, takes these two other gentlemen to arrive. Eventually, though, you two in the alleyway kind of hear a very calm voice go, well, actually, give me a perception check to see if you actually can hear what he's saying.
With a 2, I think you've got me so covered
Shut
up.
Shut up, Gorman. Shut up.
Well,
I'm trying to listen.
I just want to get out from under this top. There's bugs on here. What the fuck? It's all on my crotch. Kind of. I don't know.
Eventually quiet Gormut down. You're able to kind of like tune in, or just tune out. Like,
yeah, I just stopped listening to him. I can't be quiet. That's not happening.
But yeah, you hear Tarq. You kind of hear, and Fraxinus, give me a perception as well to see if you hear this guy, because you're also inside the building. I assume the door's kind of been left open with some like steam pouring out of it, so you might be able to.
Nope.
Nope.
Fully immersed in this extra helping us do. I help myself too.
Fraxinus, yeah, I think that people left all of their food out, so there's just like everyone's food is just free for you to eat. But Tarq, you hear this kind of deeper guy's voice go, Really, men, I expected better from you. If any of you are ever to make the cut, you're going to have to learn to recognize trickery when you see it. Everybody stand aside. And you kind of hear like the movement of like armored bodies getting out of the way. And this big, heavy footsteps eventually in the doorway of the public house. And Fraxinus, you hear this coming, up to you, and kind of you hear this heavy boot steps take a couple of steps into the building, and then come to a stop, and then you just hear a sir, please, if you would, can you disperse this, whatever this is?
Fraxinus continues to chew for a second, licks his fingers, and then belches loudly. And with that belch, like the fog just sort of dissipates out from around him, and just like starting with him, the place reveals itself.
This is chef's kiss, like so good. This loud belch brings out, and all the steam disperses, and we just get this shot of like the the fog like dissipating fully. Just this big dude in full plate armor with a great sword on his back, and like he's got like a helmet, like a full helm, like emblazoned, like literally right on the like forehead. There's like a flaming eye pattern, and he's like looking directly at you from where the source of this sound came, in the most disapproving manner you've seen on anyone's face in quite some time. And he just stands there completely still, completely straight backed, just kind of like patiently waiting for the fog to disperse. And he just kind of looks at you and just goes, well, I was going to let you do your thing when I saw you on the street. However, it has become clear to me that you might require some supervision, Lamplighter.
What order is he?
He is from the Blazing Order. This is the guy in like the more intense armor. And it is interesting, I think, Fraxinus. I think you'd just be able to pick up like from knowing that like the Barloft, who's like the knight captain here, didn't really like know what to do with you. So this guy clearly, though, as he stands in front of you, kind of like a very intimidating figure, just staring you down, is, you get this sense that like he probably like at least has some idea like what's going on with you. And yeah, he just kind of like stares you down, and as the spell completely, like the rest of the mist and you two in the alleyway, you kind of see this like waft of mist disperse and kind of crawl down the street, and some of the soldiers like take like a wary like step back almost as it comes to them, but then they are like, oh, okay, like it's not, we're all fine. And the two of you kind of see the soldiers like form back up, and the guy inside with you, Fraxinus, kind of goes, if you would, please collect your belongings and come with me. We should have a discussion at the Templary, if you'd be so kind. And he kind of like, with like the big like chink of armor, he like turns so that his body is like facing between you and the doorway sideways, as if he's like gesturing you to like walk out, but just with his body language as he's just staring at you, being like and I think that's probably a pretty good place to call it for the evening. So we can start up next week with some interesting developments for these three, I would say heroes, but yeah.
How many gold did I end up getting? I'll count out as they're discussing in the bar.
I love this so much. We're having this like
right around the corner.
Yeah.
Epic scene, and then you're just like, one, two.
I'm listening to the clinks because I can't see, so I'm listening to plink, clink. Oh, that sounds good. That's a heavy one.
You find 7 gold pieces.
Wow. All right.
So 7
Right.
gelt in your inventory. That's a good chunk of money for you, huh?
I'll give Gormut one.
I don't think I've ever had a gold coin before. I am like, for me? I bite it or whatever. Guys, for Len, that was
Awesome.
amazing.
Way to deal with our shenanigans.
Yeah, no, that was so good. But at your request, we will end the stream right
You guys are phenomenal.
here.